All right, let's jump right into one of the greatest intellectual showdowns in all of history. We're talking about a teacher, Plato, and his own star student, Aristotle, going head-to-head over the most fundamental question you can ask. What is actually real?
So, let me kick things off with a question for you. Think about a perfect circle. Not one you can draw, but the idea of one. Flawless, ideal. Now picture a circle you sketch on a piece of paper, with all its little imperfections. Which of those two is more real? Seriously, think about it. Your answer puts you right in the thick of this epic debate.
To get what this fight is all about, we have to start with the teacher, Plato. He came up with this really wild, revolutionary idea, a completely new way of looking at existence he called the world of perfect forms.
Get this. Plato's big argument was that the world we experience with our senses, the world we see and touch, isn't the real world at all. He believed it's just a shadow, a flawed copy of a higher reality. The true world, for Plato, is a non-physical realm of perfect, eternal, unchanging blueprints for everything. He called these blueprints the forms. So what Plato does is he basically splits reality in two. On one hand, you've got our physical world. It's messy, it's always changing, and we only perceive it through our kind of unreliable senses. But then, on the other hand, there's the world of forms. It's perfect, it's timeless, and you can only grasp it with your mind, through pure reason. For Plato, your intellect, not your eyes, was the key to seeing what's truly real. And reigning over this entire world of perfect ideas is the ultimate form, the form of the good. Plato used this amazing sun analogy to explain it. Just like our sun lights up the physical world so we can see things, the form of the good illuminates all the other forms, making it possible for our minds to understand truth. It's literally the source of everything. But here's where the story gets really juicy. Plato's own top student, Aristotle, just wasn't buying it. After studying with Plato for 20 years, he started to poke some serious holes in his master's biggest ideas, setting the stage for a brilliant counter-argument. Aristotle came back with some heavy-hitting critiques. First, he was like, okay, if these perfect forms are off in some other dimension, how do they actually interact with anything here in our world? He thought Plato had just made things way too complicated. Why invent two worlds when you're trying to explain one? But his most devastating blow was a killer logical puzzle called the third man argument. Okay, stick with me here. It's brilliant. It goes like this. Plato says a man is a man because he participates in the perfect form of man. Fine. But that means the physical man and the form of man now have something in common, right? So to explain that common thing, you'd need a third form of man and then a fourth to explain the commonality between the first three, and you see where this is going. It just goes on forever. For Aristotle, this was a total deal breaker. It showed Plato's theory was logically busted. So after dismantling his teacher's theory, Aristotle had to build his own from the ground up. This is the synthesis, where Aristotle takes philosophy and brings it crashing right back down to earth, putting back together the two worlds that Plato had split apart. Aristotle's big idea has this fancy name, hylomorphism, but the concept is actually pretty intuitive. He said that every single object in the physical world is a mix of two things that you can never, ever separate. Matter, which is the physical stuff it's made of, and form, which is the essential structure or blueprint that makes it the thing that it is. And the difference here is just huge. For Plato, the form of a chair is a perfect idea floating around in another dimension. For Aristotle, nope. The form of the chair, its chairness, is in the actual chair itself, inseparable from the wood and nails. He basically just took Plato's two worlds and collapsed them back into the one unified reality that we actually live in. Now, this new system didn't just explain what things are. It also gave Aristotle a totally elegant solution to another ancient problem that had really stumped philosophers, the problem of change. How does anything become something else? Think about an acorn. For Aristotle, this isn't just an acorn, it is an oak tree in potential. It holds inside its very matter the possibility, the blueprint, to become something way bigger. That's its potentiality. And then, when that potential is fulfilled, when it gets the right soil and water and sun, it becomes an oak tree. That is its actuality. It's the realized final state of what it always had the potential to be. So for Aristotle, change isn't some crazy mystery where things pop out of nowhere. It's simply the natural process of potential becoming actual. The oak tree doesn't come from nothing. It's just realizing the potential that was already packed inside the acorn all along. It's a dynamic and purposeful way of seeing the world. And that brings us to the final showdown. On one side, you have Plato's top-down reality. The perfect, abstract idea of dog is what's truly real, and all the dogs we see are just flawed copies. On the other side, you have Aristotle's bottom-up reality. He says the individual dogs we can see and touch are reality. We then form the general idea of dog in our minds by observing lots of actual dogs. One gives us idealism, the other gives us empiricism, the idea that knowledge starts with experience.
So this all brings it back to you. The next time you think about a big abstract idea like justice or love or beauty, what's your brain actually doing? Are you tapping into some perfect, eternal blueprint that exists outside our world like Plato thought? Or are you building a concept from all the just acts and beautiful things you've ever seen in your life, like Aristotle argued? This ancient battle for the nature of reality, it's still being fought right inside your own head.